Okay, picture this. It's the humid summer air of August 2nd, 1934. And with the final, shuddering breath of an old man, something truly profound slipped away. Not just a life, but a ghost of a republic, a faint whisper of a bygone era, simply evaporated into that stifling German heat. Paul von Hindenburg, the aging field marshal, the hero of Tannenberg, the man who was, in a way, the last frail bulwark against a storm that was already raging, he was gone. And in that very gasp of history, almost before his body had even begun to grow cold, the world, my friends, truly shifted on its axis. You see, for years leading up to this, Hindenburg had been this reluctant, often manipulated figurehead for a Germany teetering right there on the very edge of an abyss. He was a man steeped in the old school, still clinging to imperial notions of honor and duty, to a Germany that, frankly, no longer existed. And yet, in what can only be described as a moment of truly profound misjudgment, or maybe, just maybe, it was simply the failing of his advanced years, his limited understanding of the dark currents swirling around him. He did the unthinkable. He appointed that Austrian corporal, that fiery orator, Adolf Hitler, as chancellor. Now, why would he do such a thing? Well, he genuinely believed, as many powerful men around him did, that he could contain this wild revolutionary energy. He thought Nazism could be harnessed, domesticated, somehow brought into the fold of traditional German conservatism. He imagined himself the steady hand on the rudder, navigating the ship of state through rough waters, even as the storm clouds were gathering, dark and heavy, on the horizon. He really saw himself as the one in control. But here's the brutal truth. Hindenburg was fading. His grip on power, on reality itself, was loosening by the day. He was becoming less of an active participant in those final, desperate years of the Weimar Republic, and more of a symbol, a name, a historical echo. And Hitler? Oh, Hitler was watching. He was waiting. He was planning. He was a predator, patient and relentless. He'd already consolidated immense power, hadn't he? He'd systematically dismantled democratic institutions, crushed political opposition with terrifying speed, and begun indoctrinating an entire nation. Yet one critical obstacle remained. Just one. It was the office of the president, embodied by Hindenburg himself, the man who still commanded the loyalty of the army, that last thin thread of legitimacy connecting the new, frightening regime to the old, familiar Germany. The very second Hindenburg's heart stopped beating, the trap sprang shut. There was no hesitation, no pause for national mourning, no respectful deferment to the old general's legacy. None. Within hours. Can you imagine the audacity? Within hours, an announcement thundered across the entire nation. It was an act of breathtaking speed, of chilling efficiency. The offices of President and Chancellor were combined, fused, abolished in a sense, and then reborn as something monstrously new. Adolf Hitler, already the Chancellor, now unilaterally declared himself Führer and Reich Chancellor. It was so much more than just a change of title. It was a constitutional coup, a death knell for any lingering, fragile hope of checks and balances. And the military, whose sacred oath of loyalty had always been to the president, to the state, to the Constitution, they were immediately compelled to swear a brand new, deeply personal oath. Not to Germany, not to the law, but directly, unequivocally to Adolf Hitler, the Führer. Just try to put yourself in that moment. Imagine the sudden, stark, horrifying realization for so many that the old world wasn't just changing around them, it was being systematically, brutally dismantled piece by piece. What did the generals, those old aristocrats, the common men and women across Germany think in those dizzying, terrifying hours? Did they truly grasp the sheer, unbridled, terrifying power that had just been unleashed? It begs the chilling what if, doesn't it? If Paul von Hindenburg, the old lion, had somehow managed to cling to life just a few more years, even in his frail state, would he have been able to curb Hitler's ambitions? Would his continued, albeit weakened presence have provided some kind of anchor, enough to prevent the absolute, total consolidation of power we witnessed that day? Or was the die already cast? Were the forces unleashed by Hitler simply too potent, too overwhelming for any single man, even a national hero like Hindenburg, to control? It's a question that haunts history, isn't it? That day, August 2nd, 1934, wasn't merely the death of a man. It was the symbolic death of a nation's democratic aspirations. It was the violent, brutal birth of a totalitarian nightmare. From that pivotal moment forward, with no one left standing in his way, Hitler's path to absolute, unchecked power was terrifyingly clear, and the world, as we know it, would soon pay an unimaginable, horrific price. If you're as fascinated by these pivotal moments that truly reshape history and you want to delve deeper into the stories behind them, then stick around. There's always more to uncover.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more history daily.